Let us talk about the reasons for burnout. I've discussed with you now the root and the phases that we can go through. But the question is now, where did it happen? I think there's one word that describes the source of burnout. It all starts with conflict. I always think conflict is a positive thing. If a conflict will lead to a resolution and it will be dealt with and you'll get a win-win situation and you can move on. But if that conflict is continuing in your life, it will put your whole body, your whole system in a stressed situation full of anxiety where you're always in a fight or flee position. And that will put your body actually in a toxic situation if you don't do anything about it. So let's talk a little bit about the different conflicts that you may experience that if you don't do anything about it will lead to burnout. The first conflict that I want to mention is the conflict in capacity. I mean by that you might feel that I'm appointed into a position where I actually don't feel equipped enough to deal with it. You might feel that you don't have the capacity or you don't have the training for it. If you don't do anything about it, you're going to pay the price. What can I do? I can go to my leader, my head of department or my principal and say, Madam, sir, I don't feel equipped enough. Can I get training in this? Where can I go to get training so that I can be capacitated to do what I'm supposed to do? If you cannot do that, you have to look for a way out. Then you have to say, this is not going to work. I need to get to a place then where I feel that I can work within the boundaries of my own potential. And I have seen heads of department coming to me to say, sir, my situation has changed. My situation at home has changed. And I need to lay down my post as head of department. And I respect that. I actually admire people that can say, when looking at the bigger picture, I cannot do what is expected of me now. And I don't want the organization to suffer. And I want my family also to get the best of me. And then you make a decision like that. The second conflict is conflict in relationships. There's nothing that can drain energy as much as distrust, where I feel I cannot trust somebody because I don't know what that person is doing behind my back. It could be your life partner, it could be a colleague, it could be your head of department, but if you're in a position where you feel that this relationship is really dragging me down, you need to take action. You need to get to a win-win situation where that relation can be restored. You only have two choices. Either you restore that relationship or you get distance. But if you don't make work of that, you're gonna pay the price. The third conflict is a conflict in calling. I call it conflict in calling because if you know where your skills lie, you know what you're strong in and you know what you're weak in, and you are not working at a place that asks you to use your gifts and your talents, you're always going to feel empty. You're going to feel that something is missing. So it's good to have an exercise where you draw up a list of what you know, what makes you tick, what you're good at, and ask yourself, how many of these skills are used in my present post? And if there are things missing, you ask yourself, where can I go to live out that passion? It could be at church, it could be in a music group, it could be attending art classes, wherever, but make sure that over a period of time that you are using all your talents and gifts. Another conflict is a conflict in values. where you might be in a situation where you really cannot reconcile morally or ethically what the people are doing around you, and you cannot associate yourself with that. You only also have two choices. Either you do what the Daniel and Joseph has done and go into this strange foreign world because you're called to make a difference, or you get out of it because it's going to drain the energy you need. There could also be a conflict in expectations, where you're actually starting with an activity or a program because you're so excited you're going to make a difference, and the result turned out to be a disappointment, or the other people didn't value it as much as you did, and you might end up feeling this was not what I expected. You have to deal with a disappointment, otherwise it's going to drag you down and you're going to lose all the energy you need. The last conflict that I want to mention is the conflict in priorities. So many teachers that I meet feel that they're overburdened with so many work to do within such little time. I want to say to you, all of you have 24 hours a day. It is what we do with that time that matters. What are your priorities? It will drain all your energy if you always have to deal with feelings of guilt, feelings of pressure about for everything that needs to be done. And you might get to a point where the moment you have time, you go and sit and have coffee in the staff room, and you don't use your admin period to do what needs to be done because you're tired. You have to deal with those priorities. Draw up that list, what needs to be done. And I know that our priority lists changes almost every 2 hours at a school. You can start the day with a list of priorities. By break, that list would change. And that's okay, let it change. But make sure that you get to a point where you can tick off what has been done. There are times that you have to go to your leader and say, "Sir, madam, I thought this was important. You said this was important, but now here's something else that has happened. What would you say is the priority now?" And you allow people to give input so that you can do what is supposed to do. But deal with the conflict in your life. Otherwise, it's going to drain all your energy.